Hello everybody and welcome to a new video of What If Midoriya Was the Shield Hero, one of your favorite series and one of mine because honestly it's pretty fun thinking of all these ramifications, but also stresses me out a thing because now I'm gonna have to start thinking of original adventures to put in here because story reasons. Regardless, I want to ask you guys to go check out my Discord after the video is done or in the middle because I want to encourage more people to go there since I talk to you guys a lot over there, answer questions, and ask for feedback for images that come on these videos, and I would really appreciate if people would join. Aside from that, I ask you to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and all that jazz. And enjoy the video, everyone, after the intro. After winning his duel and receiving compensation for his work in the wave, the shield hero, Izuku Midoriya, along with his companion, head to the slave merchant's tent. "Welcome, welcome," says the slave merchant when the pair enters the tent. "What can I do for you today?" "You seem to be in a good mood," says Midoriya upon seeing him. "Well, things have been going well for my business. So what can I do for you today, my good sir?" Belarukas responds. "We're here to remove the slave seal," Izuku states. "Huh? Why would you want to do such a thing?" the merchant asks with a confused expression. "Do you not offer such a service?" asks Raftalia. No, my dear girl, we certainly do. I just don't see why anybody would want to do such a thing," the merchant states. "By the way, you've certainly grown into a fine specimen." Belukas turns to Midoriya and states, "I'll give you 25 gold pieces for the girl." "She's not for sale," Midoriya comments with a slight anger in his tone. "Now are you going to help us or not?" "Most certainly, sir. Follow me. This way," the merchant says while leaving the entrance. Midoriya turns to Raftalia, noticing that she seems a bit hesitant to go. "Everything all right?" he asks. Raftalia steels herself and answers, "Just fine." They both follow the merchant, passing by his collection of slaves in cages, heading towards the main tent. While walking by, Midoriya can't help but feel disgust. "I hate being here. It upsets my stomach every time. So much suffering in one place, and I can't do anything about it," he thinks while walking. They reach the main tent, where Belukas orders his minions to prepare the ceremony. They have it ready pretty quickly. "Are you sure you want to do this, Sir Hero?" asks the merchant. Midoriya nods, and they start the ceremony. As the ceremony transpires, Midoriya sees Raftalia's stats and info disappear from his field of vision. The ceremony ends, and the slave seal disappears from Raftalia's chest. "Are you alright?" Midoriya asks. "Yeah, I'm fine. It didn't hurt nearly as much as applying the slave seal or linking it to a master," Raftalia states, answering her friend. Midoriya sends Raftalia a party invitation, which is promptly accepted by her. "Can I interest you in anything else? A new slave, perhaps?" asks the slave merchant. Midoriya thinks for a moment and answers, "No, thanks. That'll be all." "Are you sure? If not a slave, we can also offer from the conventional side of the business," the merchant states, wanting to make a sale. "What exactly are you offering?" asks Raftalia. "I'm offering you a monster. We have many different types, but if you don't have a preference, we also have an egg lottery. The entry is only 100 silvers. The merchant looks at the two. Seeing that he piqued some curiosity, he continues. "With the lottery, you are guaranteed at least a Philolial, with the grand prize being a dragon, which is worth 20 gold pieces. Of course, the odds aren't that high to get it, but you still have a chance." Midoriya thinks for a moment and says, "I suppose having a monster that can move us around would be a good thing. Sure, I'll take an egg from the lottery." "Excellent! Yes, sir," the merchant says while ordering one of his subordinates to go fetch the lottery. Midoriya then selects an egg. The egg is registered to him and he is then handed an incubator, where he places the egg. When he does, a timer appears in his field of vision. They pay the man his dues and leave the tent. "Now what should we do, Midoriya?" asks Raphtalia. "I'm not totally sure myself. I think we should level a bit more, using the info that Itsuki told me yesterday. Does that sound good?" Midoriya asks, while pondering the plan a bit. "Yeah, sounds great," Raphtalia responds with a confident tone. They head to a nearby shop where they buy a map. They check the map, seeing exactly what the best route is to get to where they want to go. While they check, they head to the pharmacy in order to sell some excess medicines that Midoriya made in order to be better prepared for the wave. They quickly sell the medicine and also receive a book of medicines as thanks for helping out the pharmacist's family during the wave. They leave the pharmacy and head to a nearby magic shop, having been told to go there by the pharmacist. There, the owner uses her crystal ball to read their affinities. Raphtalia's affinities are light and dark magic, and Midoriya's healing and support magic. They are also given a book of spells to study. After finishing all they had to do in the castle town, they set out into the mountains, while fighting some monsters on the way. Night falls, and they decide to spend the night at an inn in Loot Village. The townspeople thank him again for his help during the wave, giving him the remains of the Chimera boss that was killed in the wave by the other heroes. Midoriya feeds the remains to his shield, unlocking a few new shields. After having dinner at the inn, they go to the room and get ready for bed. "Man, this book's impossible to read," Midoriya states, moving the book from one angle to another. See if that'll make it clearer. "I hope there's some skill I can unlock that'll translate it for me. If not, we can probably ask the villagers for some help or buy something to help us learn it together," Raphtalia says with a smile on her face. "I guess you're right. We'll learn it in no time," he says, smiling back at her. "We should probably head to bed. We have a lot to do in the morning." They both go to bed. The next morning, Midoriya breaks up bright and early. He stretches a bit and notices that the timer on the egg is about to expire. He looks at the egg, seeing the small cracks are starting to appear on the egg. He wakes Raphtalia up for her to witness it too. "What is it?" she asks while waking up. "The egg, it's about to hatch," Midoriya states. Raphtalia gets up and walks towards the egg, seeing it hatch. They hear a small crack and a small yellow Philolio breaks through the shells, presenting itself to the world. "Pio, Pio!" the little bird shouts while moving around and jumping onto Midoriya's head. "Hey, little guy," Midoriya says, caressing him a bit. "He's so cute, Midoriya," Raphtalia comments while looking at the little guy. Midoriya carefully grabs him, setting him on the table and says, "He really is. I guess he needs a name now. Any ideas?" The little Philolio starts moving around playfully. Midoriya and Raphtalia look at him with a smile on their faces. "A name? I don't know. How about Kido?" Raphtalia asks. The little Philolio shakes his head as in disapproval of the name. He doesn't seem to like it. "What if we call him Denki?" Midoriya asks. The little Philolio looks excited at the name. "Denki it is then," Midoriya states. The group then heads to the tavern to eat some breakfast. After, they buy a chart to more easily learn the language and head to the mountain in order to do some leveling. They arrive at the optimal area to level that Itsuki had told them about. "This should be the place," Midoriya states. "But I don't see any monsters here," Raphtalia mentions. Just then a big spider monster that's about 3 meters in length and 1.5 meters in height jumps out of a nearby cave, lunging at the two travelers and their pet. "Airstrike shield!" shouts Midoriya, pointing his hand at where the spider is jumping from. A shield materializes in front of the spider, stopping it in its tracks. Raphtalia pulls her sword from her scabbard and slashes at the monster, killing it with one slice. "Nice job," states Midoriya as he walks to the monster, fitting it into the shield. Upon feeding the spider-like monster to the shield, Midoriya unlocks 2 new shields and one that comes with a new skill and 1 equip ability. "That's pretty useful," he says while checking his stats. "What is it?" asks Raphtalia. "Did you unlock something new?" "A couple of things, actually," he answers. "One has a web ability, the other a spider vision, but that's only an equip ability effect." He changes the shield to the new one to test out the ability. "This is so weird," he shouts, a bit confused. "What's going on?" Raphtalia asks. also confused. I can see all around me. It's very strange and disorienting, Midoriya answers. He changes his shield back to the Chimera Viper shield and states, we should probably go into the caves. I think that's what Itsuki was referring to. Right, answers Raphtalia, as both head into the caves to level up a bit more. 2 hours later, heading in, they emerge from a tunnel in another part of the mountain. This cave entrance is near a forest, further away from the village that the entrance that they used was. Well, that was tough, states Midoriya, a bit tired of fending off monsters. Yeah, but we got a ton of materials and a bunch of levels too, says Raphtalia. Midoriya opens up his stout window to look at the hole and says, I guess you're right. We did gather quite a lot of stuff, not to mention the level increase. Denki didn't do much and he's already level 19. I do wonder what that star next to your name means though. We can always ask someone at the village or Urhad. I'm sure they'll tell us, Raphtalia says. Yeah, we could head back to ask him, Midoriya murmurs. Just then, the Philolial, Denki, now being slightly bigger, starts moving around to get their attention. Bio, Bio, he chirps. What is it, little guy? Asks Midoriya. Denki's stomach then growls and Raphtalia says, I think he's hungry. Again? Midoriya asks. We already fed him all our rations while we were in the cave. Well, I guess there's no avoiding it then. We'll have to go hunt something and cook it. They head to a nearby forest and hunt some animals and quickly cook them. He's growing pretty quickly. Is that normal? Asks Midoriya. Raphtalia shrugs, not knowing the answer. They go back into the caves to level up a bit more and get some more materials from different monsters. After a long while, they head back out and go to the forest. Midoriya prepares the camping grounds and Raphtalia goes to hunt some dinner. Since he finishes early, Midoriya opens his stat windows and starts checking some of his new shields while he mutters, wow, I really unlocked a lot of shields. Now, there's a lot more possibilities in battle. Let's see. There's the Shooting Star shield, the Chimera Viper shield that has a counterattack, the Light Metal shield. Wait, that reminds me. I should test what Itsuki told me about. He keeps on going, experimenting a bit, even using the power-up methods that Itsuki told him about, so he strengthens his most used weapons as much as he can. He ends up using item enchant to strengthen his most used and useful shields, and sorts them in terms of rarity, so he knows which ones are stronger. He also checks his job levels, only to see that only the defense stat and a couple others have increased. Interesting. Well, I can use one for all. It seems that the shield doesn't want to make it stronger in any way. Almost as if they were at odds, he mutters. Is everything okay? Raphtalia asks, walking back from hunting some more monsters so they can make dinner. Yeah, I was just checking my stats and testing out something Itsuki told me about to get stronger, Midoriya replies. Did it work? Is it useful? Asks Raphtalia, curious. Midoriya answers, yeah, it actually made my defense stat a lot higher and even strengthened some skills. It seems pretty useful. I'm still curious why you have that star next to your name when I don't, even though we're the same level. We can ask Urhad tomorrow. Regardless, I brought dinner. How about we cook it up? She asks with a smile. They have dinner and study a bit before going to sleep. The next day they resume their little adventure, going through the mountain, collecting different materials, some ore, some monster drops, and a couple of other things. After they feel like they gathered enough materials, they head back to the loot village, where Midoriya spends the rest of the day playing with Denki. At night, they head to an inn to spend the night, where they study until they fall asleep. The next morning, they wake up early, eat breakfast, and set off to the castle town. They ride on Denki, so they get there pretty quickly. Once there, they sell some materials and go to the weapon shop. Outside, Midoriya says, Stay here for a moment, Denki. We're just going inside for a couple of minutes. We'll be back in no time. With a bit of a sad expression, the Philolio answers, B. Hey kid, what can I do for you today? Asks Urhad as they enter the shop. Well, we kinda need two things, says Midoriya. Come on, don't leave me hanging, states the weapon shop owner. Midoriya glances at Raphtalia, so she grabs her slightly beaten sword and says, I'm afraid it won't last much longer. Erhard grabs the sword, inspecting it, and comments, Huh, you guys have been busy. What level did you reach? Level 40, both of us. We also have a Philolio outside that's now level 27, Midoriya answers. Level 40, huh? So you're ready for some class upgrades. You also got yourself a pet. Things are starting to go your way, huh? Says the weaponsmith. Class upgrades? Are those what the little star next to Raphtalia's name means? Asks Midoriya, curious as ever. You don't know about those either? Well, I guess it's to be expected, Erhard comments. You can get them in the church. They only allow certain people to get them, but I'm sure it'll be fine since you're a hero. While Midoriya and Erhard talk, Raphtalia browses through the swords, browsing for a new one. She finds an interesting one. She pulls the sword from its scabbard, a small plop being made. It has no blade, she exclaims, surprised. Erhard turns his attention to her and says, That's because it's a mana sword. A mana sword? What's that? Asks Raphtalia. It's a type of sword meant for enemies without corporeal forms. It works by channeling the user's magic power or mana into it, explains the weaponsmith. Might prove useful. Let's buy it, adds Midoriya. Raphtalia nods, grabbing it as she keeps browsing for a new sword. So what's the next step in your adventure? Asks Erhard, wanting to start a conversation while Raphtalia looks for a new sword. Just to level up, I guess. Get stronger before the next wave, answers Midoriya. I get that, but where are you going to go? What are you going to do? The weaponsmith asks. I don't know. Haven't really thought about it, answers the boy. Erhard thinks for a moment and says, You could join the Adventurers Guild. What's that exactly? Asks Midoriya, having a rough idea. It's a sort of institution that many countries rely on. Adventurers sign up and get jobs, such as hunting monsters in certain areas or other such missions. They have tons of guides and stuff for what people at certain levels can handle. I'm pretty sure the other heroes signed up the first day. Honestly, I thought you would have signed up by now too, says the weaponsmith. I heard about it, but figured they wouldn't let me join, comments Midoriya, thinking back a bit. Well, it's an international group. You shouldn't have any problems. But you can always conceal your identity, use a fake name to enter, suggests Erhard. Midoriya is about to respond, but before he can, Raphtalia chimes in, I think this is the one for me. She walks up to them holding a pretty expensive-looking sword, one with some interesting markings. Good choice, comments the weaponsmith. How much do we owe you? Asks Midoriya while grabbing his money pouch. Let's see, that sword is pretty expensive, plus the mana sword, usually it'd be 23 gold pieces, but for you I'd go down to 21, answers the shop owner. That's pretty pricey, comments Midoriya. If you can't afford it, you can pay me back later. I know you're good for it, Erhard answers with a smile. That's not it, explains Midoriya. It's just we won't have that much money left after this, only 6 gold pieces. That's still quite a bit, says the weaponsmith. Yeah, I'm just not sure how long that money will last with Denki eating so much, Midoriya mutters. I can downgrade if we need to, says Raphtalia, rethinking the situation. Midoriya hands Erhard the money, saying to Raphtalia, No, you don't have to. I'm sure we can make more money in no time. If needed, we can always hunt our own food. Having finished our transaction, the two head outside. The moment they step outside, Denki jumps Midoriya wanting to play, so Midoriya caresses him. Gah! Gah! He chirps. Hey, buddy, says Midoriya, trying to get him off him. After a moment, he manages to wiggle out. After that, they head to the church, wanting to get their class upgrades. While going there and thinking about how it works, a help screen pops up on Midoriya's field of vision, explaining that the heroes don't need their class upgrades. A few minutes after they arrive at the church, where they're told that they need to pay 20 gold pieces for a class upgrade. Midoriya tries to explain that he's a hero, but the sister says, No exceptions! Not having enough money to pay for Raphtalia's class upgrade, they head to the Adventurers Guild building. Once there, Midoriya hides his shield, making it the smallest form possible, and hiding it on his back, behind his cloak, so others can't see. He does this in order to conceal his identity as the shield hero. They again leave Denki outside, much to his protest, and head inside the building. They are greeted by an assistant who gets them settled in and registered, explaining to them how everything works. Midoriya registers himself as Deku, and Raphthalia just uses her normal name. They head to a bulletin board full of different jobs, read through a couple, and take on a couple of quests. After all that, they head out of the building and set off to adventure. While the group did all this, Motoyasu set up on his own little quest. He set off on an adventure to Ziltobo in order to acquire stronger equipment. Before leaving, however, he is given lordship over a given domain. A domain that includes Loot Village. He and Mine discuss a couple different things about the territory and decide to put a tax in place. Malty wants them to go personally to enforce this, but Motoyasu is hell-bent on going to Ziltobo first. So she sends a couple of knights to announce and enforce this new law. The villagers, however, didn't take it very well. One went to the castle town to the Adventurers Guild to ask for help. He was greeted by the ally of Justice himself, who promised to help them out. They headed out a couple of minutes before Midoriya entered the building. Midoriya and friends leave the castle town. The moment they do, they are approached by a group of people wearing cloaks and masks. They are approached by shadows. Pardon the interruption, Sir Shield Hero. I understand that you may be a bit ignorant of many things in this world, so allow me to introduce us. We are the Shadows, members of an organization that does a variety of things. We represent the Queen of Melromark herself and are here on her orders to give you this. The head shadow says, handing him a scroll. He opens it, inspecting it for a moment, and says, I have no idea what this says. Our apologies. Then allow me to tell you what it contains. The scroll is an official letter from the Queen that grants you domain over the village you defended during the wave. Her Majesty thought you should be rewarded for your bravery, and also wished to apologize for the actions of the king. The head shadow explains. Midoriya thanks them for giving him the scroll, and so they leave, disappearing into the shadows. What are we going to do now? Asked Raphthalia. Are we still going to book in? I think we should go here first. After we can go to the quest to book in, answers Midoriya. They get on Denki and head to Loot Village. When they arrive, they're stopped by a guard asking them for 50 silver toll. Well, that's new. That's going to ruin the village, says Midoriya, pulling out the scroll and showing it to the guard. Pardon me, sir, says the guard, bowing upon seeing the scroll. Allow me to escort you. They walk into the town with a guard shouting, announcing the village's new lord. The villagers begin to mutter, saying things like, I thought the spear hero was the one appointed to this town. A crowd starts gathering, and out of nowhere, an arrow comes flying at Midoriya. He quickly reacts, using his shield to deflect the arrow away from any civilians. Denki gets mad and rushes at where the arrow came from, locking combat with the shooter's bodyguards. As the crowd disperses from behind Midoriya and Raphthalia, a man dressed in some flashy armor comes out of nowhere, swinging his sword at Midoriya. Raphthalia jumps in, parrying the attack, and as a result, Midoriya powers up one fall, hitting Mauled in the stomach, throwing him back and forcing him to drop his weapon. Everyone stand down, shouts Itsuki, now realizing who his opponents really are. But Lord Itsuki, we must deliver justice to this criminal, says Mauled, while getting back up and ready to fight. Itsuki glares at him and he shuts up. Huh? Itsuki, what's going on? asks Midoriya, confused. I could ask you the same question, Midoriya, says Itsuki. Why did you put that outrageous tax on these people? It'll ruin them. I don't disagree, but I do think there's been some sort of misunderstanding, says Midoriya. Midoriya explains the events leading up to now, with him getting the scroll and everything. That's weird. I got the call for help before you even found out you were the Lord, says Itsuki. They ask around and sell the situation peacefully. Midoriya stays the Lord, but the previous Lord is the one who is in charge of making the decisions concerning the town. With that situation taken care of, Itsuki leaves to continue his own travels. Midoriya gives the village 2 gold coins in order to help with the reconstruction. The Lord wants to refuse, as he can't ask the shield hero for such a thing, but they agree on a small compromise in which Midoriya is given an old broken carriage, which they quickly fix up. With the village in a good financial position, the group heads out in order to continue their adventure. Before they can set off, however, Denki just transforms, taking a bigger form than before. Midoriya is curious, but not knowing much about Philolios, just rolls with it. They travel a bit until Raphtalia gets nauseous, at which point they stop the carriage and set up camp since night's starting to settle. Raphtalia goes out to hunt some dinner while Midoriya makes some preparations for dinner and plays with Denki a bit. When Raphtalia gets back, they cook the food and they go to sleep. The next morning, Raphtalia wakes up screaming in surprise when she does. The scream wakes Midoriya up, thinking they're under attack. He jumps up ready to fight. This brash movement causes Denki's head, which was resting on Midoriya's thigh, to hit the ground. "Ow!" he says, rubbing his head. Both Raphtalia and Midoriya look at Denki surprised. The little blonde angel looks at them confused and asks, "What's the matter, master?" And that's the end of the video. I do hope everyone enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe if you're new. I do want to say that right now you should be seeing something new, a little character info sheet. I want to start adding new stuff to the channel, and this is one of them, overhauling a bunch of stuff. If you want to see how I help out with stuff, like giving feedback on the images that are on screen in these videos before they actually come out, you can always check out my Discord down below in the link in the description to the Discord server, where I talk a lot with people and we have this whole leveling competition about who speaks more and all this stuff. It's pretty fun and I want to encourage more people to join in, so go there. All that said, I do hope you guys have a fantastic day, and you can always watch another video that's on the channel. Until next time, everyone, bye!